Shubhodayam, welcome to all to the session of this certificate course on Sanatana Dharma, 7th batch, organized by Veda Samskruti Samiti in association with Visva Yoga Vidyapit. Today we'll be having the topic on research topics by Dr CSR Prabhu garu. So we start the session with Vande Mataram. I'll do it. Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Subrajyosna pulakitayaminim pullakusumita drumadala shobhinim suhasinim sumadhurabhashinim sukhadam varadam mataram vande mataram. Vande Mataram. Now I request Venkatanaran garu to do the Prarthana, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Meditation for a minute followed by 3 times Onkar. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashunvannotibisidhasadanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitrayavatu Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha Gurureva Gatir Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho Matirasti Gurau Mam Pahi Guru Jnananandamayan Devan Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Matrudevo Bhava Pitrudevo Bhava Acharya Devo Bhava अतिथिदेवो भव। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
హరి ఓం. ధన్యవాదాలండి వెంకటనారాయణ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ. Now I request Prabhu garu to start the webinar, please.
ఓం నమో బ్రహ్మాదిభ్యో బ్రహ్మ విద్యా సంప్రదాయకర్తృభ్యో వంశ ఋషిభ్యో మహద్భ్యో నమో గురుభ్యః. సర్వోపప్లవరహిత ప్రజ్ఞానఘన ప్రత్యగర్ధో సోహమస్మి బ్రహ్మైవాహమస్మి. Well, friends, today we will delve into possible research directions and research problems. I have been into research for some time. I have written number of research papers and number of books. I have authored 16 books, out of which 12 are in computer science frontier areas. And my son is a researcher. He's a professor at BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus right now. He did a doctorate in artificial intelligence at Australia. So the research is very, very crucial, because if you don't do research, you will not get anything new. Everything would have been stuck with the old status, and there will be no development of human society, technology, science, management, any subject. Now, in the world history, if you look at the larger picture, for about 100,000 years, 1 lakh years, there is an evolution of knowledge development that has taken place in India. Because why I'm saying 1 lakh years is, you all may be knowing there is an old Stone Age spot at near Meerut. And near Meerut is also the Hastinapura, and Delhi is Indraprastha, that is the Purana Kila spot. And apart from that, we have the Kurukshetra, we have the Saraswati River flowing from Adibadri in the Yamunanagar district into the ocean through various states like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. So now on the banks of Saraswati River, there was the development of Vedic knowledge system, Vedas. The rishis, ashramas were there on the banks of Saraswati River. And Delhi, Gurgaon is not very far. Those who live in Delhi might have already seen. If not, please go and see Kurukshetra and nearby areas. Kurukshetra Development Board has published a big book where all the spots, around 350 spots have been identified right now, having temples, but originally having the ashrams of the rishis, Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, and so on, who have actually contributed to the Vedic wisdom, knowledge. Like, for example, if you take the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurbhuvasvaha Om. This Gayatri Mantra was delivered by none other than Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra Rishi, we mentioned it in our Sandhya also. And Vasishtha was his contemporary. He was the guru of Rama, and they were in competition. Vasishtha was much superior. They all were in that area, and many other rishis. The Sapta rishis are famous. Bharadwaja, to whose lineage I belong, the Gotra. Each one of you must be having one Gotra. So these rishis, the main topmost rishis were Sapta rishis. Agastya, Vamadeva, Kashyapa, Bharadwaja, Vishwamitra, like this, Vasishtha. So apart from the topmost Sapta rishis, we had many other rishis who delivered Vedic mantras on the banks of Saraswati River, which dried up around 4000 BC. I would say that this evolution of knowledge, development of knowledge in the form of Vedas, Veda mantras, was in a particular mode, particular model of knowledge management. What is knowledge management? I wrote a book on knowledge management too. Knowledge management means internalization of knowledge, externalization of knowledge, and socialization of knowledge. This is the definition of knowledge management given by Donaka, who is the founder of this discipline. So now this is a whole process of education system and our life itself. We internalize knowledge, we externalize knowledge, and we socialize knowledge. That's what we are doing in this course also. That's what I am doing right now. You are internalizing, I am externalizing, I am socializing knowledge. So this model of knowledge management, which was used in the Vedas, was different from what we have later, like today and some time back. And different models came at different times. So the first model of knowledge management was a Vedic model of knowledge management, which was based on hearing, Shruti, not writing. Writing was there, but in a limited scale. It was based on chanting and hearing. So that's why it is called Shruti. So the knowledge was delivered by the Guru to the Sishya by chanting, Vedadhyayanam. And from the age of 8, the knowledge was instructed with Upanayan, Samskar. Onwards, the Vedic knowledge was instructed. Even today, it is being done so in the Vedic Gurukulas, Veda Patshalas, in various locations in the country. So, after acquiring this memory-based Vedic chanting, parallelly the students are taught Vedangas, grammar, pronunciation, chandas, poetry, rules, etc., etc., so that they'll be able to interpret what they are chanting and understand it. So later on, this model, Vedic model of knowledge management underwent changes. The Upavedas came. The Ayurveda is an Upaveda of Rigveda. Dhanurveda is an Upaveda of Yajurveda. And we have the Sthapatya Veda as an Upaveda of Atharvaveda, which is engineering. Sthapatya Veda is engineering. And Ayurveda is medicine. So these knowledge systems, Indian knowledge systems, IKS, which have been there for hundreds of years, thousands of years, intact and were evolving, efflorescence. They evolved, they bloomed, they blossomed on the banks of Saraswati River. And Saraswati River dried up in 4000 BC, just before Mahabharata war, a little, 1000 years before Mahabharata war. So all the people migrated away from Saraswati River. That's why they are called Saraswats. They migrated to various parts of the country, even to Kashmir, even to South India, even to Goa, even to Bombay, and so on, Karnataka. So the knowledge was spread. This was the oldest model of knowledge in the world, not just India. Because as early as that period of Saraswati River, there were no worthwhile civilizational developments happening elsewhere in the world. The parallel civilizational centers were Chinese, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, or Iraqi, Persian, Irani. They are much later, and they are nothing but the migrants of Saraswati River civilization to those countries. And this is a very interesting topic to research upon. So the first research topic I would like to recommend to all of you is to trace the knowledge development, the Vedas, and its spread throughout the world. Because we have the evidences of the Indian knowledge systems, Hindu culture, Sanatana Dharma, outside India in large number of places. Recently, I was listening to some video. They are showing in Kyrgyzstan, they found some Shiva Parvati idols. And as far as Uzbekistan or in China or in Japan they have temples of Saraswati equivalent, Ganesh equivalent in their own versions. And the best source book for this research will be a book called World Vedic Heritage. You can note down World Vedic Heritage by P.N. Oak, Prithvi Narayan Oak, whose son is Nilesh Oak. So he wrote this book giving the photographs and as evidences of archaeological findings throughout the globe, each and every country, which can be linked to Vedic culture, Indian culture, Hindu culture, and Sanatana. So this is an archaeological, historiological, cultural tracing of spread of knowledge. So I'm going to give you half a dozen research topics. You can choose any one of them, and each one has many subtopics. Or you can come out with your own topics also. You're welcome to come out with your own research topics. And we'll be guiding, I'll be guiding, and you will be able to come out with some papers, even books if possible. And the papers, if you come out with papers, they can be published guaranteedly in our Vedavani online journal, which we are operating. I am one of the editorial board members. Veda Samskruti Samiti, in association with Vishwa Yoga Vidyapeeth, which I chair, is operating this online journal. Of course, you can also publish in other journals in the world outside VSS and VYV course. So now, those who live in Delhi or Gurgaon, etc., they can just go to Kurukshetra, Haryana, and track all the different spots of Saraswati River, right from Adibadri, where Saraswati rivers were born. I went there and we can trace the path of the Saraswati River. It's a very exciting research. And various centers, ashrams of rishis on that path. And the second topic, which is related to this, is the linguistic development of foreign languages from Sanskrit, from Vedic Sanskrit. if you were as a sequel of the global spread of knowledge from the Vedas on the banks of Saraswati River to the rest of the world, there was a linguistic evolution or distortion or degeneration from Sanskrit into various languages of the world. Now, this is also related closely to the political situation of those days. I'm very happy to note that our friend Sri K.K. Sharma ji is right now at Ayodhya at the temple, Rama temple. It is important to note that Ayodhya was the capital of not only Rama, but also his father Dasharatha and his great ancestors, various ancestors, Dilip, Harishchandra, the Suryavamsa, ancestral emperors. Ayodhya was the capital. And from there, they ruled not only India, but the rest of the world. Did you know this, Sharma ji? Aapko malum tha? So throughout the globe, the empire of the Suryavamsha kings was present. And this is mentioned in the records in the Upanishads. In fact, it is said this earth is owned by the Ikshwaku clan. So, of course, there was mostly forest in the whole globe, very few pockets of human civilization prevailed previously. And wherever the pockets of human civilization prevailed, it was the Vedic culture which went there. And Sanskrit was the root of Persian, Greek, Latin, and even Arabic, Hebrew. So now the historical, archaeological, and epigraphical tracings or linguistic evolution, content evolution, because the earth was ruled by the Ikshwaku, Rama's clan, and the Sanskrit language and the Vedic culture were the world culture at one point of time. Gradually, there was a kind of a dilution with time. Is bound to happen. So the research can be, second topic of research can be to trace how the world cultures, the world languages originated from Sanskrit, from Vedas, Vedic Sanskrit, not the Laukic Sanskrit. Laukic Sanskrit is more modern. Valmiki onwards it came. So if you look at the Vedic Sanskrit, in the Rig Veda itself, you will find its image or carbon copy in the oldest non-Vedic text or contemporary text to the Vedas, which is Zandavest. Zandavest, the word Zand itself means Chanda. Chanda means with, of the Persians, of the Parsis. Ratan Tata and others, Jamshedji Tata. All these people are Parsis and their holy book is Zandavest, the Iranian. So there the Rigvedic mirror can be seen with some distortion. In a mirror, what happens? Left becomes right and right becomes left. So Sura becomes Asura, Asura became Sura. S became H, H became S. So Sindh is known as Hind, Himalayas are known as Himalayas. So in the old Persian, that is in which Zendavest was written, the philosophical thoughts of Rigveda migrated. The philosophical thoughts of Rigveda in terms of the Ekam Sat, Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, one ultimate absolute truth which manifests as different devatas as presented by different Vipras. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadant. Indram Mitram Varunam Matarishvam Supernova Garutman. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadant. This is his statement. Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Garutman, all these different devatas which are eulogized, praised, and described and worshipped in the Vedic mantras. They're all finally only one. Ekam Sat. Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. The Vipra means those who know the Vedas, those who have knowledge, the philosophers, the saints, the Brahmins. They interpret in multiple ways, though the Sat is only one. This is the statement in the Rig Veda. So this thing went into the Zen the West to the extent of identifying that Ekam Sat as an individual, impersonal personality, Ahura Mazda. And therefore, the whole religion was built on that, on the monotheism. The Rigvedic monotheism, Ekeshwarvad, was a merger of the Rigvedic polytheism of Bahudevata Upasana merged with the Ekeshwara Upasana. And also pantheism, nature worship. Because the nature comprised of devatas, the Rigveda eulogized around 800, all the Vedas together around 800 devatas are there, and each devata is a force of nature. So I wrote a paper on the integrated framework for Veda and science, because each force of nature is nothing but a devata, and devata is nothing but part of nature. And study of Veda is nothing but knowledge of the nature, which is what science is all about. Knowledge of nature is science. So Veda and science are one and the same. In different models, different approaches, but the objective is the same. The processes are the same, the knowledge is the same. Like Bhudevata is earth, Vayu, Agni, Aruna, Surya, all so on and so forth. So now the research topic would be how this theology, philosophy of the Rigveda diffused or penetrated into the Zoroastrianism or the Parsi religion in terms of the Ahura Mazda. They also had Devatas, Varuna, and so on. And Agni is their main Devata, which is also the main Devata in Rigveda. The very first mantra of the Rigveda is a praise to Agni. Agni Mile Purohitam Devas Rutvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam Sapurvesham Apiguru Kalena Navachedat Sapurvebhi Rishibhi. So the Agni as energy principle as manifest by fire is the prime deity of the Zoroastrians, of the Parsis. It's very interesting to investigate. Now, the next step that took place, which used to be investigated, is what happened after Zoroastrianism. We are talking of 3000 BC, 2500 BC. Emperors like Cyrus, Persian Empire, spanned over a large area of the world. And then they dominated the area, including Israel, where the Jews lived. And Jews also had multiple devatas, polytheism, Bahudevata Aradhana. And under the pressure of the empire, the Persian Empire under which Israel came, around 6th century BC, Ezra and one more high priests of Judaism, they were instructed to follow monotheism and not polytheism. Vayakeshwarvad, based on the Ahura Mazda and the one monotheistic worship of the Zoroastrianism. And these people imbibed it in the name of Yahweh. And the same Yahweh became Yehovah in Christianity, with Jesus included as the Son of God. A statement not accepted by Jews nor by Muslims. And so this is how Islam was born out of Bible, by removing Jesus' supremacy, removing the Trinitarian theology of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and reduced to only one, and that is Allah, which is nothing but Yehovah, with some differences in definitions. The surprising thing is, though they accept there's only one God, La ilaha illallah, and so on, they immediately say that it is only my God and not your God. So if it is only one God, then all must have only one God. How can there be many one gods? The word many itself means not one. So the depth and the strength of the theological positions in Christianity and Islam fall apart when you go question, because they don't permit question. That's why they don't permit question. So the tracing of divinity, theology, theological definitions of God, one thing they all agree is creation. Creation is definitely by God. And they don't bother about sustenance and dissolution. They are also equally important. Janmadhyasya Brahma Sutra number 1 says, Yato vaimani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yasmin pravishanti. That means both Srishti Sthiti Laya, that particular source of all the three activities is known as Brahman in Brahma Sutras, is actually the definition of God, but these people just don't bother to go deep. Ignorance is bliss. You close your eyes and say, whole world is dark. Now, the tracing of the God concept from the Rig Veda to the Zoroastrians, to the Jews, to the Christians, to the Muslims is a very interesting research topic, which we did. And I wrote a chapter on that in my book on Dharma Yoga, giving the quotations of Rig Veda, Upanishads, Gita on one side, and their mirror images, or if not direct copies, in the Zendavest Bible and Quran. Word to word, same. So in fact, the 10th mandala of Rig Veda, the praise to sun god as monotheism, has penetrated into the Bible, praising of Yehovah in place of sun god. Akhenaten, the Egyptian emperor, imposed sun-based monotheism in Egypt. And the same thing penetrated into Bible in the name of Yehovah. Now, the queens and mothers of the Egyptian empire were Hindus. Why I'm saying this is the Hittite and Mitanni rulers of Turkey. They entered into a truce in 1400 BCE in an inscription called Bogoska inscription in Turkey. There it is declared, they both declare their allegiance to Vedas. In the name of Indra, Mitra, Varuna, they swear and write a treaty, abandoning war and entering into a peace treaty. This is the archaeological evidence. Hittite Mitanni tribes and their daughters became the queens, mothers, wives of the Egyptian lineage of emperors, pharaohs, the most powerful, the most great. So that way, the sources of global civilizations can be traced to the Vedic civilization and Hinduism. Sanatana Dharma. It's a very important research topic. And of course, a closely related topic here is that, in any religion, there will be God, and then how to worship God, how to pray God, or how to perform bhakti, devotion to God. And then there will be do's and don'ts, rules of life, ethics. And then there will be rituals for birth, death, and marriage rituals. This is what a religion is all about. So across the world, in all these religions, when God is having a common thread, which I've just now shown it, the other aspects of religion also will have common threads. Like when you say worshipping God, devotion to God. The way you have devotion to your God, similarly, the other man has devotion to his God of another religion. For example, the quotation in Bible, thou shalt love thy Lord thy God with all thy soul, with all thy body, with all thy mind, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I'll show you exact word to word in Bhagavad Gita. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pashyati. So, loving the humans next to you by loving God, Manav Seva, Madhav Seva, and so on. So these concepts are common. And the next do's and don'ts, the ethics, the commandments, the 10 commandments, except the first one, which says, I am the God, I am the only God. That kind of exclusivism, that is where the problem starts. The rest 9 commandments are plain ethics, dharma. That is, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't covet neighbor's wife, don't kill, and so on and so forth. And similar things are there in Quran also, in the form of the Sharia law. If you are caught stealing, your hands will be cut off. If you are caught in adultery, you will be killed. If you are caught in something else, you will be whipped. Even today, it is happening. So the principles of law, principles of ethics, basic morality are the same. So though there is a lot of difference in the code of conduct and the criminal code of conduct, punishments, like the Sharia law punishments are very, very severe compared to the punishments in, say, in English law or Indian law or any other law. If you are caught stealing, you will be put in jail. That's all. Your hands will not be cut. Whereas in Arabia, your hands will be cut. If you are caught in adultery, you may be hanged. So that's not so in the Western society. Adultery is also a crime, but it's not so severe a crime. So the variations exist, but the common principles also exist. And why is it that? And why is that there is so much of commonality in dharma, in yoga? So that's why I wrote this book, Dharma Yoga, as a common framework across religions and cultures of the world. And the commonality will come due to the common origin. This is a research topic. Then I'll switch over to more deeper research topics. Nature of God, Brahman, is defined and described in elaborate detail in the Veda mantras. Yo Vedadau Swara Prokto Vedante cha Pratishtitaha. So whatever is expressed in the Vedic mantras, in the swaras, the same knowledge, same entity is confirmed in the Upanishads as Vedanta. Yos Vedadau Swara Prokto Vedante cha Pratishtitaha Tasya Prakatirinasya Sa Param Maheshwaraha. So Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the transcendental Supreme Divinity, the Lord of everything, Ishvara, Parameshvara, Maheshvara. He is declared in the Swara, the chantings of the Veda mantras, and is confirmed in the Vedanta of the Upanishads. Yo Vedadau Swaraprokto Vedante cha Pratisthitaha Tasya Prakritilinasya, and he manifests indifferentiably in nature as nature. So to understand God, the Vedas have sung in hundreds and thousands of ways of mantras. And the Upanishads have established confirmedly the essential philosophical content, spiritual content of the Vedas, devoid of the rituals in the Upanishads. So it is the same thing in Vedas and Upanishads, which got summarized into the Brahma Sutras in a formal way and in a very pleasing and appealing way in the Bhagavad Gita. The same divinity, supreme personality of Godhead, is conveyed in all these ways. Correct? Yo Vedadau Swaraprokto Vedante cha Pratisthitaha Tasya Prakritilinasya. And the same Godhead is brought out in other religions as well, except Buddhism and Jainism, which are atheistic. There is also yoga there is very much dharma, it's there, the dharmic religions. And there is even upasana, devata upasana, of various devatas like Tara, who is the equivalent, a manifestation of Shakti. So these are all research topics. So this Parabrahman, Om, which is being explained in the Upanishads as Brahman, and in the Brahma Sutras and in Bhagavad Gita as Narayana, Krishna, Vishnu, and also in other Puranas like as Shiva. How is it that the next research topic will be, as I told yesterday, Shanmata Sthapana of Shankaracharya? How did he do this? Because the Advaita Siddhanta is one without a second, non-duality. So, you see, now, if you take the example of the sentence in Arabic in Quran, La ilaha illallah, what it literally means is, Ilah means God. There is no God except the God, which is declaring Advaita, according to me, and many of my friends who are Islamic scholars. But it is interpreted in a political manner and to dominate the world, Islamic colonization and so on, which is wrong. So if you interpret in the philosophical way, in Indian philosophical way, there is no God except the God. The God means Brahman. God, other gods means individual gods like Agni, Vayu, Prithvi, and so on and so forth. They are not there except this. That means they are all one and the same as this, or they are all part of this, or they are all windows to the same. This is my interpretation, which is accepted by top scholars in Quran. So there are many such statements, like the statements, one word is there, Deenul Qayyum, which literally means Sanatan Dharma. Why is it there in Quran? And then there is also a word of Awal, that is the first book, first knowledge, that is referring to the Vedas. So there are some of my friends who are scholars in Quran, Muslims, who are able to interpret this kind of knowledge from the statements of Quran. So the nature of God can be easily shown to be the same. The worship, bhakti yoga is the same. Dharma, ethics is the same. So what is difference? The rest is all different. The cultural differences, historical differences, difference in dress, differences in habits, differences in language, differences in food. everything is different. So even if you find something is common, so at least definitely something is common. That percentage of commonness can be interpreted differently by different people. Some people say it's only 15% common. Some people say it is 51% common. Some people say it is 70% common. So whatever it is, why is it common is the question. It is common because it has a common origin. Why is it there is so much of commonness between Buddhism and Hinduism? Because there is a common origin, common culture. Why is it the Sikhism and Hinduism are more or less same 95% same or 90% same? Because they have common origin. So also the world religions all have common origin from the Rig Veda. This is my position. It's a research topic. Now we'll go to another related research topic, that is the research topic of Devatas, Devata Upasana, mantras, and yantras, and Tantra, Agama, all coming out of each the previous. So the Rigvedic statement of various devatas as part and manifestations or windows of one supreme being. Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. There was no idol worship as such. So later on, these devatas were represented as diagrams, figures, even idols. Like you take sun. Sun is visible to you. But there is a sun temple. There are many sun temples. Konark Sun Temple. Why should you go to a temple to worship sun? There is nothing wrong because they have personified sun into a humanoid form and they built a temple. Why there is Saraswati temple? Saraswati is knowledge. Why should you go to a temple to worship Saraswati? You are worshipping Saraswati in every class, in every college, in every university. That is just a way of presenting it. So, all wealth, all good things in life, Ashtalakshmis, you build a Lakshmi temple, Ashtalakshmi temple. As if the Ashtalakshmis are only in the temple and not outside. That's not true. It is the other way around. Temple is only a representation of what is present elsewhere. So you have a right to build a temple. It's a commemoration or memorial or kind of a way of representation. So that is how the idol worship came. It should not be misunderstood like the Muslims and Christians do and misinterpret it. Even without idol, it's fine in Hinduism. In fact, in the entire Vedic culture, there is no idol. Sandhya, Homaya, Gavan, and Nath, there is no idol at all anywhere. It came later from Agama Shastra. So Agama Shastra is the science of temple culture, temple construction, idol construction, idol culture, and so on, which is not accepted as a Shastra by the Arya Samajis and the Brahma Samajis, of course. So the Mantra Shastra is a very important area of research. This is the fourth or fifth I am telling. So all the sounds, Om is of course the summation of all sounds. A is the first and Ma is the last. So in between we have the all letters covered. Therefore, Om covers, it is like saying A to Z, everything. Alpha and Omega. I am Alpha and I am Omega. It means A to Ma, all together. In between, we have the individual sounds. And each individual sound is a representation of one Devata. Like Ra is a representation of fire, energy. Ya is a representation of Vayu. La is not just a namesake representation. It is a mantra representation. So it is actually the same thing. So in Vayavyastra, for example, Ya is the main sound. Ya, Yam, 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 like this. There will be a mantra of Vayavyastra. And a person like Arjuna who got a siddhi of Vayavyastra, by chanting it, simply revoking it, simply evoking it or him chanting it, he can create a cyclone. So that is the Astra technology, which is removed deliberately. For Kali Yuga, it is not possible. And I'm just giving you an insight. So the Mantra Shastra, so other sounds like, say, I is knowledge, Saraswati. I'm is Saraswati. I'm Vadavadava Gwadini Swaha. That is the Saraswati Bijakshara mantra, Mula mantra. On that, over that, additional mantras are added to give more special effects. Like when somebody is doing research, I performed Upasana on Saraswati, on this mantra. Om Aim Hrim Mahasaraswati Saraswata Prade. Mahasaraswata Prade Aim Vadavadavagwadini Swaha. So this is high level intellectual research level knowledge development. And for yogic enlightenment, there is a different mantra. Yam, yum, yam, yam, yam. Like this, there is again, Aim Vadavagwadini Swaha. So by performing the repetition of these mantras, you will get certain special powers. And people got. And similarly, Lakshmi, I performed Lakshmi Upasana, Mahalakshmi Upasana. Sri is because Sha, Ra, I. Three are there. Ra is Agni, Sha is cooling. And by that Bijakshara mantras, there are powers evoked within yourself. Like if you chant Ra, 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 like this 100 times, 1,000 times, you will get heat in your body. Definitely you'll come. So, and when you say you are cooling, there's an anatomical angle also. When you say shh, that means it's like Shitali Pranayam. The Bernoulli principle, the air is cooling the saliva, the breeze which is going, and that's cooling on the tongue and then the whole body. In Shitali, we do exactly that. Shitkari. So the air cooling effect is used. And Ra is rupture between the tongue and the palate. The air is sandwiched in between and rubbed. So to get friction and heat. I'm just giving you a couple of examples. So the astras were developed like this, but they are not going to be functional in Kali Yuga. They have been withdrawn. Whereas mantras for your own personal benefit will work even in Kali Yuga. And they have worked. They have been working. Even with me, they have worked. And I have taught some of the mantras to some of the people for their requirements, and they got results. So the devatas are nothing but the powers, shaktis of nature, whose representation is in the sound form, and repeating those sounds will result in particular effects, which will produce those results in human body, human personality, human mind. That is only the small part, the window. Knowledge window is Saraswati. Wealth and desire and satisfaction, enjoyment, all that is Lakshmi. And action is Durga. So we have basically three things in this world: Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Icha means what is your objective? You should have an objective first. What is that your desire? What is that you want to achieve? That is Icha Shakti, Sankalp. Then comes Jnana Shakti. How to achieve that? You should have the adequate knowledge, adequate plan, steps. and also the procedure, flow chart, part CPM. The third is you have to execute it, Kriya Shakti. If you do these three, you will achieve anything in this world. And in fact, we are doing only these three, nothing else. Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. So Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Durga. Three mothers. The mother of mothers. All three put together. Amma Lagarna Yamma, Muguramma, Mula Putamba, Chala Peddamma. The big mother, Adi Parashakti, comprised of three major Shaktis, which further can be decomposed, Ashtalakshmis, and so on and so forth. So the whole universe is made up of the Devata Shaktis. So this is Mantra Shastra research. This is another topic. Of course, the Upasana of Devata through mantras comprises of not only the Mula Mantra chanting, but peripheral puja procedures in the Mantra Shastra, Tantra Shastra, and Agama Shastra. That is how the entire religion is born out of. So those who don't understand all this, they criticize. They say you're having idol worship and all that crap. They talk crap. Because in every temple, at the bottom, below the idol, it's not just the idol, there is a yantra there. And the mantra bijakshas are written there in gold. And there is a power created. And there is gold and all that kept there. And at the top also, there is gold and all that kept. And in between the two, the energy flows. And that's where the idol is established. And then prana pratishtha is done to generate prana shakti in the idol. It's no more an idol. It is a vibrating live Devata Murti. It's not just Murti. It vibrates, it resonates, and it emanates, radiates energy. That is how the temple works. The Devata works, temple worship works. So this is Agama Shastra. So these are all research topics. Well, research is something is based on investigation of from known to unknown. So obviously you don't know everything, you know something. So you try to know more by finding the unknown from the known. That is what is knowledge acquisition is all about. That is what is education is all about. From known to unknown. So unknown becomes known. And then the next unknown. This is what is called study and research and knowledge acquisition. And even education is only that. Then, of course, there are other topics of research like Viman Shastra. I'll be giving a lecture on that separately. A lot of research possibility in Viman Shastra research, the mechanical engineering, machine design related research, metallurgy, rocketry. Then, of course, there is also a possibility of research into the physics of Vaiseshika, my book, which I have covered already. So I gave about half a dozen or more research directions, and each direction can have many topics. But I welcome you to come forward with your own research topic. Each one of you should think deeply, take your time, and come out with a research topic and send it to us. And we'll help you conduct research and investigation. And then you will publish a paper or write a book. With this, I close my lecture today and open your questions.
Thank you very much, Prabhu Garu. There are a wide number of areas of research now available for the students and everyone. And now anyone can ask question. Raise your hand and ask your question. Yesterday's, if you have questions on yesterday also, you can ask, because yesterday we had to close early on the question and answer session. Always there's a lag in asking a question. The first hand raises a bit late, and then everyone starts Rising. Uh, at least Radha Kumari garu, you are since you are performing some research in these areas, you have any question?
Good morning, sir.
morning.
Actually, I do not come from this area. My main subject is political science. That's why
Okay.
other day I said that for me, I am a novice to this course and I'm just new. I'm learning things. But yes, I'm interested. But as being a novice, I am
No,
hesitant to ask things.
political science is a very fertile area for research in Sanatan Dharma. I already gave you one hint already. The political administrative setup during the Rama's time and prior to Rama, all the ancestors from the Ikshwaku emperors. Do you know that they ruled the whole globe? Did you know this? So
Sorry, sir.
were you aware of the fact that the whole globe was ruled from Ayodhya by the kings of
Sir,
Ikshwaku?
actually, I have read Ami Ganatra's book, and she has given that kind of hint. In fact, I have listened to Nilesh Oak's videos, and recently they are about timelines of uh, Ramayana period, Ramayana writing, and yes, they talk of this spread as well, that it
So
was spread.
Before Ramayana period, Ramayana is the last episode of the Suryavamsa
Yes,
emperors we
yes,
know,
yes,
but his
yes.
ancestors. There is a
Hmm.
mention in the records of the Upanishads that Harishchandra, Dilip, and others, they ruled the
Yes,
whole globe, and the
yes,
Ikshwaku clan. So you can do
yes.
research on that.
Sir,
Historiopolitical.
how would I get material for this? And
No, you have to search. You contact Nilesh Oak or you contact Ami Ganatra, and you search in Google, you search in AI tools, and you'll get more and more. And the definition of Ramarajya itself is a very big subject of research. What is Ramaraj? And
yeah,
now there are some organizations, at least two organizations I know, they are claiming to be Ramaraj Parishads. They have started operating organizations which are aiming to achieve Ramaraj today. Welfare
hmm,
state. It's a welfare state. Okay.
hmm,
You know
yeah,
what is a welfare state? Switzerland is a welfare
mm,
state. And
yeah,
and also moral, in the modern welfare state, there is no morality concept. Whereas in the Ramaraj, there is a welfare
yeah,
state which is based on dharma, dharmic
yeah,
welfare state.
hmm,
And also the famous, unforgettable masterpiece, Ardhashastra by Kautilya, which is the ultimate political, public administration, economic
yeah,
text.
yeah, yeah.
And
So,
there is a lot of research scope there, how those models can be relevant today. Even today, people are using that. I've just heard
okay,
a lecture by ex-army chief Rajiv Narayanan explaining the mandala theory.
yeah,
Rajamandala.
yeah. That is taught in even in UG courses, PG courses in political science, and a lot of work has been done on Kautilya. Lot of
Yeah,
work.
there is a lot of research scope there. You see, for example, I'll just tell you the Rajamandala. What it says is that, from what I understood, I'm not a background. I don't have background in political science, but still, from what I understand, in a country, if you have a country, kingdom or country,
Mm,
your neighbors are going to be your enemies. Correct?
yeah, yeah,
Your neighbors are definitely going to be your enemies.
yeah,
If not now, sometime or
yeah.
the other. So every neighbor is an enemy.
Hmm.
So the neighbor's neighbor, the other side,
Would be your
is
friend.
his enemy. and every
Yeah.
enemy's enemy is a friend.
Yeah.
So Afghanistan is a friend of India.
Yes.
So this way, the Rajamandala, he draws the whole country, and that discourse is valid even today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the
Ari Mitra. Mitra Mitra. Ari Mitra
yeah.
Mitra. Yeah.
So the enemy's enemy is the friend, and then then you see the concept of Rashtra is first defined in the Rig Veda itself. What is Rashtra? Nation or state, nation state. So,
So
for
here
example,
we
yeah,
generally discuss of this Rashtra concept coming from Atharva Veda and from Prithvi Sukta,
yeah,
where there is Putro Aham Prathitya.
yeah. So, not only that, that is about the earth dimension, but from the sociological dimension, in
Yeah.
every marriage, when you got married, then one mantra will be chanted. You might have heard. Dhruvam te Raja Varno Dhruvam in Mitras chant. Dhruvam Rashtra Rashtram Dharayatam Dhruvam. So, a
Okay.
marriage is nothing but an establishment of Rashtra. You know how?
Hmm.
Marriage is creating a family, and
Hmm.
families together create the nation.
Hmm.
So, Rashtram Dharayitam Dhruvam. That means we are establishing a Rashtra in this step of marriage. In every marriage, this is chanted.
Sir, there
Yeah.
can be one interesting topic. If
Yeah.
recently I am working on one topic, but this has suddenly struck me because nowadays there is so many questions are raised on the institution of marriage, and we see normally the people, younger generation, either they don't want to get married or they want to experiment with this institution. For example, there when in fact when I was having this marriageable age, I got advised by my colleagues that don't get married because there was a quote which was very popular in universities at that time: dinks, double income, no kids. Now people are going for this concept: double income, no kids. So you have one companion with you, or either don't go for kids or just live in kind of thing. So it was when it was, I think, as early as 2006 when I was suggested, and it is now 2025, and I see a remarkable, a sea growth on the same lines. And now I see around me so many people, and in fact I have read so many articles in Hindu paper which is um, again the supportive of such progressive, I wouldn't call them progressive, radical ideas, that marriage, and they in fact they blame Hindu society for this, for this withdrawal from marriage institution. This is the quote you, the mantra you spoke. So there could be a very interesting research, the significance of marriage in the building of Rashtra or society or.
Yes, that's what I'm telling. That's exactly what I'm telling. You see, if like in the case of Buddhism, they promoted monasteries for both men and women, and sometimes they were joint monasteries. And finally, it led to the collapse of Buddhism. Because there are two faults, major faults. One is that to make everybody a monk, and then go around begging. And then if everybody is a monk, who is going to feed them? And then second thing is female monks also and male monks also, and having, if you bring them close together, they will indulge in sex, and that's become a scam and scandal. So living together is not a legitimate relationship. So finally, Buddhism, the whole thing was closed down. So a society, both man and woman are the two pillars or the two wheels on which the society moves forward. And you cannot replace man with woman and woman with man. That is all stupid thinking. Trying to masculinize the woman and
Yes.
it's all nonsense, because whatever functions the woman has, man cannot and will not do it, and vice versa. So, and if there are no children and there will be no society, the whole population will become zero very soon. And even otherwise, that is happening given the family planning and given the trends. In fact, there is another big threat of AI. They have predicted, some people have predicted that by next 50 years, the human being will be eliminated. Only robots will be there. If you build robots which are more powerful than humans, they will enslave in humans, and then finally humans will become not only subservient to robots, but finally they will be eliminated. Robots will alone exist. So if you want survival of the human society, it is. Yesterday I put a message to somebody saying that AI is like becoming like Bhasmasur. Bhasmasur story, right? Now today
Yeah.
this chat GPT and other AI tools, if you put one query, it is going to the big data centers in Google in countries, and millions of queries are coming simultaneously. To process them, they have hundreds of data centers. In each data center, there are thousands and thousands of servers. And to cool those servers, they use the entire water in the whole city, in the whole area, and then the
Yes.
whole power is consumed and whole environment is destroyed. And this continues. The environment is destroyed and human beings cannot survive. And there's no use. Why do you need this? I mean, you are creating a monster which will destroy you. And so this is another dimension apart from the all these thoughts of radical thinking of no marriage and only living and no children, this kind of things. They will all ensure that human race is eliminated on Earth. So, in order to promote the human race, you have to have the institution of marriage as per the Vedic concept of nation building, Rashtram Dharayatam Dhruvam. So, this is all correct direction of this. Anybody else wants to raise any topics of research?
Yeah, Suresh Garu.
Namaskaram, Prabhu Mahodaya. Thank you so much for the insights the last several days. One question that's been on my mind, as we look at the arc of history and civilizations, it's not um, uh, uh, by decade, it happens through eons. Right? So if we look at when and how the Dharma Kshetra occurred, and the reason behind it, it was to re-establish Dharma. Right? There was a time of glory. The civilization of Sanatana Dharma was at its peak, but things began to crumble, and so it led to the Kurukshetra war. Now, as we look at our current conditions in today's world, are we still in the project of evolving from the damages of Kurukshetra and Mahabharata, where we are still trying to re-establish the glory of Sanatana Dharma from the pre-Dharma Kshetra wars? As if all we claim about Sanatana Dharma is the ultimate glory, we are still struggling to get there. So what is that arc of history we should be looking at? Are we still evolving towards that? It's a project that would take generations to come.
Well, that's a very profound question you raised. That's very important. I'm very happy that you raised that question. But there is a difference between the situation then and today. The situation then, before the war, was not lack of knowledge of Dharma. In fact, Duryodhana declares, I know Dharma, but it's not my character.
Right.
So he says, Janami dharmam nachame pravritti. It's not my character to follow dharma.
Yeah.
So it is an evil personality problem. He didn't have any deficiency in knowledge. He's as knowledgeable as all other princes of Kuru Empire. So the point here is that today there's a deficiency of knowledge as well. It's a much worse situation today, I feel. So there the problem was with one person or two persons or three persons who were the Dushta Chatushtayam, four persons who were creating havoc in the society, in the globe. So Mahabharata war was a global war where the kings from all other countries came and fought. And then the Dharma was established. Because that war was fought and Dharma was established by Lord Krishna, we could survive till today. It's about 5,000 years have passed. If that was not done, even this wouldn't have happened. So now the point is that today there is, I would call it a crisis of civilizations, not across, that is what Samuel Huntington said also is true. The clash of civilizations is very much there. The Islamic civilization on one side, the Christian civilization, the Western civilization on the other side, and the Chinese on the other side, and Indian being quiet is on the fourth side. So the clash is primarily between the Christian civilization and the Islamic civilization. It's a continuous clash. You see what is happening in Gaza or what is happening in Iran and what is happening so there is a clash of civilizations in terms of the ability to reconcile or and the synthesis or samanvaya is very conspicuous by its absence. Now the big joke is that they all claim their God is only one, and they also say that their gurus are also the same, Abraham and Moses and so on, but they will kill each other. The holiest thing that a Muslim can do is to kill a Jew in their religious perspective, and vice versa also must be there. So this is kind of crazy situation, and there is a very big crisis of lack of knowledge, lack of proper knowledge, lack of understanding, and total absence of integration, synthesis, samanvaya. So today I can see that is one of the causes of conflicts. The other thing is the faulty lines of thought by, say, wokeism and socialist, communist ideology. So there is a particular leftist ideology which the Hindu paper is representing. It's a non-Hindu, anti-Hindu paper now, and that and also many other like JNU used to be like that. And so the leftist ideology, which is based on a particular rigmarole of typical narrative framework, and that will be repeated again and again against all other narratives, including the Sanatana Dharma narrative, without understanding many facts which are common to both. Like, for example, the socialistic principle of equity, equitable distribution of wealth, that is very much there in the Vedic Sanatana Dharma. Many times it has been repeated, it has been emphasized of distribution of, in fact, the traditional business models of Sanatana Dharmic societies were that the profit has to be recycled back into the society for the welfare of the society. And only 20% of your earnings you are entitled to enjoy for yourself. So the rest has to go back, 20% tax and remaining 50% to the charitable activities. So that is how in the ancient times, all the rich people, the Vaishya caste, they circulated money back into social service. So even the Birlas do even today. So this is not understood in the modern capitalism. We ensure that the poor become poorer and the rich become richer. The opposite of equitable distribution of wealth. And that will lead to social tensions and revolutions and violence. And of course, the Islamic model is again a different one. They don't want to understand what is the model in interestingly, the Islamic model or even the Catholic model of economy or polity and life will be against the modernity and leftist model, and which tallies more with the Sanatana Dharma to some extent. in terms of morality, because the main objection to Western materialistic capitalistic model today is the lack of morality, lack of values, lack of principles, which are to some extent upheld even in Islam and even in Christianity, but not in leftist or the materialistic model, capitalistic model. So for example, another interesting thing is, you see, if you take there is a thing called in leftism called people science. You might have heard, if you have any leftist understanding, you know that they promote people science, science which originates from the grassroots innovations, grassroots knowledge, people science movement. So there's a event called People Science Congress held by the leftists every year. And once I was also invited to, because I developed a database of traditional sciences of India. So there is a common point there, which between the right and the left, they don't want to understand the common points in terms of the Vedic statements of Samano Mantras Samiti Samani. On the walls of parliament, these statements are etched. The equity of equal distribution and equality across the society. It has been repeatedly mentioned in the Vedic mantras, which is the fundamental socialist ideology, which is not understood, is not appreciated or not known. So there's a lot of knowledge gap and knowledge deficiency. And see, the other thing is the environmental issues. The technology on one side. Yesterday, I was having a big debate with one of the top scientists in AI in India. So what he says is that if we miss the AI bus, then we'll become obsolete in no time, which is true. Every time we miss the bus, we become obsolete. And even in the IT bus, we missed the product bus, we took only the services bus. So we became the world superpower in services only, not in products. But then there's a heavy cost being paid in terms of the environment, and survival itself is in question. And the whole thing is based on technology. The diesel, who was born in a place called Augsburg in Germany, he invented diesel, and that has caused the ozone holes and the greenhouse effect on the environment. So diesel has been banned now, and solar energy and wind energy and where all these things are coming forward. So it is a very big price, very heavy price people pay by adopting technologies mindlessly without thinking of the consequences. And you won't believe, in the context of AI, the whole problem is coming due to, just now I explained how the environmental crisis is being aggravated to serious non-returnable positions through the data center technology essential for AI platforms to operate, is based upon a particular technology called transformers, which are based on the probability-based prediction of the next word in English. Because the next word in English is not based on the previous word, or the sentence is not based on the total knowledge, but word by word. So this is a fault of English language itself. Because when you have a sentence like Rama killed Ravana, and if you put Ravana front and Rama at the back, then Ravana killed Rama, opposite meaning will come. But that will not happen in Indian languages. If say Ram ne Ravan ko mara, if you put Ravan ko first, Ravan ko mara Ram ne, it means the same thing. Because of the Sanskrit vibhakti case ending. So position of the word doesn't matter. Because total sentence is a knowledge graph. This fact is not known to these people. They will go on basing everything on English itself. And they have done many such mistakes in the past also. And based on this next word prediction, the probability of the next word, and therefore training of the algorithm with the entire corpus of the internet requiring to predict the next word, and therefore predicting the entire next word, like this for the entire text. This is a very, very inefficient and stupid and foolish way of doing that to answer queries on the internet content. So this is how we are creating a big environmental crisis now. And as we did in the past also. So this see, one has to look into Sanskrit based technologies and Vedic technologies which are green, which has never see, because human being has existed for more than 100,000 years. Never there has been a crisis of environment except in the last 200 years. And never there has been a crisis of survival except now with the AI robotics going to eliminate humans. So this kind of stupid, thinking and thought process, and in addition to wokeism and living in relationships and all this kind of perverted thinking, buddhi bhrashto ho gaya, we can say. So this kind of thing is happening because of lack of adequate knowledge of the scriptures and the Sanatana Dharma. That where we get more cozy and closer to Islam and Christianity and Buddhism in terms of dharma than to leftist promiscuity and licentious thinking in the so-called science development, so-called AI, and so-called wokeism and so on. All this kind of perverted thought process. They are to be required to be corrected. And in fact, a Kalki avatar is supposed to come at a time a long way from now, where he will control the thoughts of others, because he cannot. The physical warfare and all will become irrelevant. This is cyber warfare and going into the thought level. So the yogis have that power of controlling the thoughts of others as well as their own. So the yoga system is very essential to be brought in to get into the right kind of thinking. That's why the Gayatri Mantra also says, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. May our thoughts, intellects be driven in the proper way. So I think these are some of the comments I would like to make on what you said.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now I think Vidyadharji, we can take up your now since you have lowered your hand. Maybe we'll take up the question after the Pradhana if Prabhu Garu is available. So right now we'll go for Pradhana with your permission, Prabhu Garu.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Venkatnarayan Garu. Sorry. Yeah, Venkatnarayan Garu, we can continue with Pradhana, please.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तान् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्रा पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतं सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान् मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ओम शांति 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 ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति.
Swasti. Thank you very much, Venkatnarayan Garu. Now we raise for the national anthem. जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। जय हिंद। जय हिंद। Okay. Now we are back. Vidyadhar ji, you want to ask your question now? You can ask.
नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार।
सर प्रभु सर हैं या?
हाँ, बोले बोले, बताइए।
सर वैसे तो आपने एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, वही मेरे कुछ इश्यूज थे सर। जैसे मैम ने पूछा था, आज के दिन सर मेरे को लग रहा है 4 कैटेगरी हो गई हैं सर। कुछ बच्चे जो शादी नहीं करना चाहते हैं, कुछ शादी करना चाहते हैं बच्चे नहीं करना चाहते, कुछ शादी करना चाहते हैं 1 बच्चा करना चाहते हैं, कुछ शादी करके 2 बच्चा। तो सर ये बहुत ही क्रिटिकल पोजीशन खास करके हिंदू कम्युनिटी में हो गई है। और मैं सर दिल्ली में एक ऐसी सीट पे बैठा हूँ फिलहाल, जहाँ पे 1 रजिस्ट्रेशन पर डे हो रहा है। आईवीएफ सेंटर खुल रहे हैं सर, बच्चे नहीं हो रहे हैं, क्योंकि आफ्टर 30 मैरिज हो रही हैं। और उनमें मेन वजह सर, एक तो आपका जोमेटो हो गया सर, एक आपकी लेट मैरिज हो गई, और एक टेंशन हो गया। मैं हर डॉक्टर से पूछता हूँ सर, हर ओनर से पूछता हूँ कि किस वजह से ये हो रहा है। जोमेटो का मतलब सर आप समझ गए होंगे, जो बाहर से आ रहा है,
घर
चाहे
में खाना
गूगल
नहीं
है,
पकाना चाहते,
खाने
बाहर से
पीने की
मंगा के
चीजें।
खाते।
तो सर ये आपका कोर्स है, उस डायरेक्शन में एक स्टेप है, लेकिन सर मुझे लग रहा है कुछ जल्दी नहीं करी तो एक आपने अभी बोला था ना कि बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो गई है, सिस्टम सर कोलैप्स की तरफ जा रहा है। आपने काफी एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, इसलिए मैंने अपना हैंड लोअर कर दिया था। कुछ इसमें सर आप और ऐड करना चाहें सर? हर घर परेशान है, मैं ऐसी जगह बैठा
हाँ,
हूँ,
बहुत
30 साल
अच्छा।
से देख रहा हूँ,
आपका प्रश्न बहुत
जहाँ
अच्छा है।
जहां सर चीजें 2 महीने में बिगड़ रही हैं, शादी के बाद 2 साल में बिगड़ रही हैं, 9 साल में बिगड़ रही हैं। इवन सर जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी ऑफ इंडिया शादी के 30 साल बाद पुलिस स्टेशन आ रहे हैं मियाँ बीवी। मतलब हर जगह चीजें बिगड़ रही हैं। तो इस पे सर
सही
थोड़ा लाइन
जी।
करें।
ये बुद्धि भ्रष्ट होने से बचना चाहिए। तो बुद्धि भ्रष्ट होने से बचने के लिए योग की अभ्यास, योग क्रिया, योगासन, प्राणायाम, मुद्रा बंध, सूक्ष्म और ध्यान समाधि से बुद्धि निश्चय स्थिति में आ सकती है, स्थिर स्थिति में आ सकते हैं, बुद्धि को काबू पाया, मन को काबू में ला सकते हैं। एक योग की मार्ग है, ये बहुत जरूरी है, समझे आप? हर एक आदमी योगाभ्यास करना चाहिए। कल से हमारा योगा का भी क्लास शुरू होने वाला है। तो यहाँ पे तो योग शास्त्र से बुद्धि को काबू में लाया जा सकता है, एक बात। दूसरा है ज्ञान की। दूसरा क्या है? वैदिक ज्ञान परंपरा, जो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम्स, वैदिक नॉलेज सिस्टम्स, उसको अध्ययन करना चाहिए। क्योंकि 1 लाख साल तक जो हमारे चरित्र रही है, हिस्ट्री रही है, ये कैसा हुआ, कैसा इस प्रकार के समस्याएं नहीं आए थे, या कैसे लिपटाए गए थे, दूसरे प्रकार के समस्याएं थे, जैसा दुर्योधन के जैसे। और ये हर एक समस्या के लिए अधर्म, मेरे ख्याल से अधर्म से ही सारे समस्याएं शुरू हो रही है। अधर्म को कम करने का, न पूरा तो नाश नहीं कर सकते, कम करने के और धर्म को ऊपर करने का है हमारा प्रयास होना चाहिए, समझ रहे आप? हर एक मंदिर में, हर एक साधु संत का यही निनाद होता है कि अधर्म का नाश हो, धर्म का जय हो। वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन प्रैक्टिस में अधर्म को कम करना और धर्म को बढ़ाना, यही सबसे बड़ी बात होती है। धर्म का मतलब केवल रिलीजन नहीं है, उससे ज्यादा है। मतलब ध्रुव ध्रुव धातु से धर्म वो है जिससे सब कुछ सस्टेन होता है, द सेट ऑफ प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ सस्टेनेबिलिटी। So we have to understand what is dharma and how to uphold dharma. And the varnashrama dharma is the model given in the Vedas to uphold dharma and uphold the human society survival. So varnashram dharma में आश्रम धर्म है, ब्रह्मचर्य, गृहस्थ, वानप्रस्थ और संन्यास। तो ये समझना चाहिए, ये करना ही चाहिए। यदि शादी नहीं करे तो क्या होगा? अडल्ट्री हो जाएगी। एक आदमी दूसरे औरत से, तीसरे औरत से, एक औरत दूसरे आदमी से, इस तरह का एंड टू एंड रिलेशनशिप आ जाएगी, सेक्सुअल रिलेशनशिप। उससे बुद्धि और भी भ्रष्ट हो जाएगी, आखिरी में वो सर्वनाश भी हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि सेक्स एंड साइकेट्री आर वेरी क्लोजली लिंक्ड। जिसका सेक्सुअल लाइफ ठीक नहीं है उसका साइकेट्री कंडीशन भी बिगड़ते जाएगा, वो पागल हो जाएगा और क्रिमिनल हो जाएगा। सोसाइटी में पूरे क्रिमिनल्स और पागल देखेंगे आपको, ड्रग एडिक्ट्स। यही हो रहा है वेस्टर्न सोसाइटी में। सो सेक्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। तो एक के साथ केवल एक आदमी एक औरत, केवल वो ही मैरिज है और कुछ नहीं, एक पत्नी व्रत, वो राम का भी सिद्धांत है। तो जब वो बैलेंस में आ जाता है एक दूसरे को, वही ब्रह्मचर्य है, गृहस्थ ब्रह्मचर्य। और जहां तक के बच्चे की बात है, ये प्रजापति का धर्म है। हम सब लोग जो शादी करते हैं वो प्रजापत्य धर्म है, प्रजापति का धर्म है। प्रजाओं को पैदा करना, मतलब बच्चों को पैदा करना जरूरी है। यदि नहीं करेंगे तो ह्यूमन रेस खत्म हो जाएगी, केवल जानवर रहेंगे या रोबोट्स रहेंगे। तो ह्यूमन रेस को कायम रखने के लिए प्रजापति धर्म, गृहस्थ धर्म, शादी और बच्चों को पैदा करना बहुत जरूरी है। आप एक करें, दो करें, तीन करें, वो अलग बात है। यदि नहीं करेंगे तो पूरा समाज बंद हो जाएगा, नष्ट हो जाएगा। तो इसलिए ये गृहस्थ धर्म है। यदि आप कहेंगे तो नहीं नहीं मैं सन्यासी बन जाऊंगा, जैसे विवेकानंद के जैसा, शंकराचार्य के जैसा, बिना शादी, बहुत मुश्किल चीज है, वो नहीं होगा। जो कोई सन्यासी इस तरह बन जाते हैं वो बीच में बहुत फंस जाते हैं, मतलब दूसरे इलिसिट रिलेशनशिप आने लगेंगे अपने दूसरे औरतों से, अपने शिष्यों से, इस तरह का हो जाएगा, स्कैम्स हो जाएंगे, स्कैंडल्स हो जाएंगे। इसके बजाय शादी जो है प्रोटेक्टेड सेक्सुअल लाइफ एंड रिलेशनशिप है, इज प्राइवेट एंड रेस्पेक्टेबल। तो शादी जरूरी है और बच्चे भी जरूरत है। आप भी, एक जमाना था जो ऐसा ब्लेसिंग होता था कि अष्टपुत्र बहुधर्म, 8 बच्चे हो तुम्हारे, इस तरह का होता था। आजकल तो एक बच्चा बहुत हो गया, तो वो दूसरी बात है, कम से कम 1-2 होना चाहिए, नहीं तो समाज बंद हो जाएगा। और जो आजकल और एक बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, ये जो मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी जो है वो 4 बीवियों से जो है 16 बच्चों को पैदा करते हैं, या हिंदू कम्युनिटी में 1 या 2 से ज्यादा होता नहीं। तो ये होते होते कुछ साल के बाद ये हिंदुस्तान मुसलमान के देश बन जाए, ये भी बहुत बड़ा थ्रेट है। तो इसलिए बच्चा पैदा करना बहुत जरूरी है, ज्यादा बच्चा करना भी जरूरी है। तो ये चीज मैं
सर
आपको हाँ।
सर वो तो अपनी पूरी स्पीड से लगे हुए हैं, प्रॉब्लम तो यही दिख रही है।
तो हमारे भी होना चाहिए उतना, नहीं तो कम से कम उसमें चौथा भी होना चाहिए। आधा तो नहीं हो सकता, कम से कम चौथा। तो तभी तो हम सर्वाइव होंगे, नहीं तो दूसरा बड़ा पाकिस्तान, एक ही पाकिस्तान बन जाएगा बड़ा।
Uh, yeah, a practical example regarding one doubt I had, Prabhuji. You mentioned about Israel.
Yeah.
The present day Israel, which was formed through the UN Convention, etc., is it the same? I mean, Israel, some other Israel was there earlier also?
No, why? The answer is in your question. Why did they create the present day Israel there itself and not somewhere else? Because that was the original Israel. That is where the Jews lived originally.
Is it?
And
Okay. That I didn't know.
Jerusalem and all those
Uh-huh.
places. Qumran. In fact, in the Qumran caves in front of the Dead Sea, the manuscripts are found, Dead Sea Scrolls, which explain the events that took place before this claimed birth of Jesus. The whole thing is a hoax. That's why Jews never accept Jesus, even till today. It's
But
a
the
hoax.
history of the present day Israel, as part of UN Convention, and said that this is the worst area that is possible, and no one stays here. So this was given to Jews who are talented
No.
people.
Those spots were there originally, same spots.
Okay.
See, what the
Okay.
problem there is, see, it is like suppose there is a holy place in Pakistan, Hindu holy place. Suppose you take Multan. Multan is Molastan.
Acha,
That
acha,
is
acha.
a Hindu holy place. Or say you take the Anantnag. or you take this. All Muslims are there today. But
Okay.
originally it was a Hindu holy spot. Like you take POK, Sharda Peeth. So POK, there's no single Hindu there, all are Muslims. But now if Hindus are given that spot, they will claim and they will rebuild and all that. That's exactly what happened in Israel.
Okay. And it was named Israel only in the ancient time. The
Yeah,
name
that is the original name.
Okay.
And Hebrew is the original language. They have taken it as
Yeah,
national language.
Right. Hebrew is, yes.
Original oldest language, along with Arabic. Hebrew and Arabic are cousins, sisters.
Thank you. Regarding effects of AI, the movie Robo is a classical example. That's the last movie that I've seen in recent times. I haven't seen any movie just to see the effect of robots and the devastation that can take place through the robots.
Sir, may I put one small question, another?
Yeah,
Yes.
small question, yes.
सर, नारायण मूर्ति की मैडम हैं, वाइफ हैं, सुधा मूर्ति। मैंने उनका एक इंटरव्यू पढ़ा था करीब 15 साल पहले, कुछ मदर्स डे पे था, कैसे था, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हम दोनों साथ में सर्विस करते थे शादी से पहले, बट नारायण मूर्ति जी ने ये कहा कि एक आदमी घर संभालेगा। तो उन्होंने बोला मेरी क्वालिफिकेशन कहीं भी उनसे कम नहीं थी, लेकिन वो मैंने अडॉप्ट किया। यानी उन्होंने सर्विस नहीं करी सर, उसके बाद घर ही संभाला, और शी सेड कि शी इज वेरी हैप्पी और वो ही करना चाहिए था। सर मुझे ये लग रहा है कि जैसे मतलब आप मेरे को ऑर्थोडॉक्स कह सकते हो, कुछ भी सर, आई डोंट नो क्या कहोगे। जब से सर लेडीज घर से बाहर निकली हैं जॉब करने के लिए, तब से सर ये बंटाधार हुआ है चीजों का। और उसके बाद तो सर ये टीवी आया है और ये 2G 3G 4G आ गया। आप क्या कहेंगे सर इस बारे में?
नहीं, ऐसा है, पुराने जमाने में माहौल अलग था। जैसा कि आप यदि महाभारत के काल में, रामायण में काल में जाएंगे तो ये जो पति का जो प्रोफेशन था, उसी को पत्नी भी सपोर्ट करती थी। जैसा कि गुरु पत्नियां थी गुरुकुल में, वो बच्चों को खाना खिलाती थी, और राजाओं का रानियां जो है अंतपुर में राज करती थी। इस तरह वो इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच था। ऐसा नहीं था कि ये नॉर्थ पोल में है और वो साउथ पोल में गया, ऐसा आजकल ऐसा भी हो जा रहा है। तो उससे काफी तकलीफ होता है, लेकिन तो हो गया है। अभी वेस्टर्न सोसाइटी का ही एक कॉपी है। मैं नारायण मूर्ति जी को बहुत अच्छी तरह जानता था। वो IIM अहमदाबाद में सिस्टम्स मैनेजर थे और बॉम्बे में भी काम कर रहे थे, और ये जो है पूना में काम करती थी सुधा मूर्ति, और वो हमेशा पूना जाते थे बॉम्बे से। जब मैं 2 बार उनके साथ काम करने वाला था नारायण मूर्ति के साथ, लेकिन नहीं किया। तो ये क्या है, वो सुधा मूर्ति बिल्कुल ठीक कर रही है, लेकिन नारायण मूर्ति जो है वो कम्युनिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी के है। तो यहाँ तक उनका बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो गई कि एक बड़ा अमेरिकन स्कॉलर है, वाइट अमेरिकन, हार्वर्ड में, कोलंबिया में, उसको ये सपोर्ट का 1000 करोड़ दिया है, 1000 करोड़ या 10,000 करोड़ दिया है। वो वेद का और महाभारत रामायण का वक्र व्याख्यान लिखने के लिए। ये इसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा धमाल हो गया है। लोग उसके खिलाफ कर रहे हैं। ये मार्क्सिस्ट है नारायण मूर्ति अपने थिंकिंग में, लेकिन है सो कैपिटलिस्ट। तो ये कांग्रेस को ज्वाइन किया है, कांग्रेस को बहुत पैसे भी दिए हैं। तो उनका बाजू रख लीजिए, उसको छोड़ दीजिए। जो मैं पहले बताया, तो हमारे सनातन धर्म की जो परंपरा है उसको अपनाना चाहिए, लेकिन विथ ड्यू अडेप्टेशन टू मॉडर्न टाइम्स।
I think we can now stop end this class because we are out of time. Thank you very much, Prabhu Garu, for the research, what do you say, direction that you have given. and hope students will take it up in the days to come. Think it over. And thank you very much again. We'll meet tomorrow on the yoga class. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.